Now, I see that we have, it's Freedom Friday. Why not? We'll go with a little bit of freedom. Our seminar caller he wants to vent his spleen, apparently on ice. Now, I'm assuming this is, by the way, you can call 888 737 1737, 888 737 1737. Now, I tell you what, I will assume nothing. Enlighten me, seminar caller. I'm sure I will be shocked and I'll be dismayed and probably not know what to think after you tell me about the latest thing about why ice is terrible.
Well, after all the yeah, you there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, after all the disagreements we've had, I thought it was important to find something we could agree upon. And I'm sure you would agree that people that are blatantly white supremacist, neo-Nazi, make no apologies about it. Like, people like that have no place in our government anywhere. Can we agree upon that?
Well, there's a lot of qualifiers there. So go back. I'm sorry. Give me that list. The neo-Nazi. I didn't get the whole list. Just one more time.
White supremacist, neo-Nazi. You know, that generic type.
Now, do you know a lot of these people? I'm sorry. Go. Well, yeah, I would generally agree that I don't associate with people like that. So if that's the question, I wouldn't be hanging with them.
As someone who's Jewish, I tend not to either. So, yeah, I don't really know a lot of those people. So can we agree that, like, people like that are bad and really should be shunned by society, let alone have a prominent role or any role in our government? Agreed?
Well, I would agree that anyone that has a hateful aspect in terms of their worldview should be I would say shunned. For example, people that hate white people, people that hate America, I don't really want them working in the government either.
Yeah, yep, agreed. Good. So I'd love to hear your defense or explanation of one Mr. James Rodden, Rodden. Maybe you've heard of him before. I don't know. If not, I'm sure you can Google him, and all sorts of wonderful articles will come up about him. He was definitively linked to a Twitter account he's the owner and facilitator of this account. Blatant neo-Nazi, white supremacist, awful, horrible account. And without a doubt, like, he is fessed up to it. It's his account. And Department of Homeland Security found out about that 2 or 3 months ago. And of course they did the responsible thing. They put him on some kind of suspension or, I guess a suspension for 2 or 3 weeks. But don't worry, he's back now. Don't worry, he's not in the field. He's an attorney. He's a prosecutor for ICE. Isn't that great to have a white supremacist neo-Nazi doing legal work for ICE?
Well,
what could be better?
Now, I'm gonna tell you this. I'll answer this very honestly. I knew heard some stories about things involving some people that were unsavory. There was a recent hire that I read about. I don't know the story of James Rodden. I'll be very honest. I can look it up.
Wait,
but
conservative MAGA media hasn't been covering this story?
I can't speak to anyone else. I just can speak to me in what I'm just not familiar with them. But I will absolutely look him up. And I'd be glad to have a conversation after. Well, I'm live on the radio. I can't exactly do in-depth research. You'll forgive me.
I understand.
You'll forgive me if I don't take everything you say as gospel, considering how many times you've come on the airwaves and been very dishonest. So from that point, I'm not saying you are in this case. I just don't know. I would have to understand the details of the situation. For example, if I may, there was one of this again. It's a different circumstance, but I just want to point out why I do the research. There was a recent hiring at a local police department that isn't far from where I'm located, and they put a picture in the paper of the 6 or 7 people being sworn in, and on one of the people's hands, to be honestly, I wouldn't have even noticed, but somebody noticed that there was a tattoo on the one hand of one of the guys being sworn in that they were pretty certain had racist undertones to it. And it created a big kerfuffle. The news got involved. They asked a bunch of questions. And it turned out that the local police department, which, trust me, this is no right-wing police outlet that we're talking about, they had thoroughly vetted all the candidates, including, as part of their vetting, going through all their different tattoos that these guys, mostly guys, had, and that they had determined it wasn't the symbol that people thought it was. Now, I give this as an example because when it first hit the news, a bunch of people jumped on and said, see, you can't have this white supremacist out there. He's just going to attack people. So I would want to do the same kind of due diligence on this Rodden situation before I comment.
You're preaching to the choir. I mean, I know you're sympathetic to that because I know you feel awful about the Venezuelans that were sent to a torture chamber in El Salvador.
Now you start to live. You were trying to be honest. Now you sound like Benny honest. Johnson. We don't send people to torture chambers. Who was the innocent person that we sent? Who was an innocent person, and where was the torture chamber?
We've sent numerous Venezuelans with no violent criminal record. Yes,
name
criminal
them.
Record because they're here illegally.
Well, you gave me James Rodden's name. Give me the names of those people that were.
Give one. Okay, you know what? I could be very dishonest and just make up some Hispanic name. Jose Rodriguez.
Well, no, but I mean, are we talking about like Abrego Garcia, the human trafficker, that innocent guy?
No, that's not who I'm talking about.
I'm
talking about the 200 or 300 Venezuelans, many who were given temporary status here because, Trump gave Venezuelans temporary status to curry favor with the Venezuelan community in South Florida. But then once he became president, he pulled the rug out from under them. Those kinds of people.
See, once again, you were doing so well in this Rodden thing. I'm still going to do my own investigation, but see, this is where I start to twist.
Well, don't use this as an excuse not to investigate.
Oh, no, I will, but I mean, you realize how thoroughly dishonest you're being, right?
And while you're investigating Rodden, you can also look into other wonderful hires by the Trump administration, like Paul Ingracia. He's a good guy. Ed Martin. Darren
what did you think? Hang on, but what did you think about Sam Britton? Was he a good hire for the last administration?
Sam who?
Sam Britton.
I'm not familiar with that person.
The guy that stole women's dresses out of their luggage in airports in Warren.
That other freak.
I'm just curious because
transvestite.
I don't remember there being outrage from you then. Did you call a lot of the shows back then?
I didn't know of your show at the time.
But I mean, if I go to your YouTube page, will I find a bunch of videos where you're like, "This is outrageous"? When Austin Lloyd and Lloyd, I'm just curious when the Secretary of Defense went AWOL.
Austin Lloyd,
were you upset?
For 3 or 4 days because he had surgery. That was probably not the brightest move on his part.
Well, I mean, he didn't tell the President of the United States. He didn't disclose. The sitting Secretary of Defense didn't tell anybody of authority that he was going under the knife, and that's a little more than
let go.
Okay, but I mean,
probably should have been let go.
Did you write an op-ed at least? A letter to the editor, perhaps?
Probably should.
So nothing.
Probably should have been dismissed.
So I got to wrap up because the segment's over. But I'm just curious. I'm hoping you can give me an honest answer. Why is it none of that stuff ever moved you and outraged you to vent your spleen on national radio when we had years of this corruption going on? We had 300,000 children. 300,000 children disappeared under the Biden regime that were led into this country, given off to people that abused them, and many have still not been recovered. I've never heard you mention that, but this lawyer,
like pedophile protectors like Trump.
See, again, there you go again. Okay, 300,000 children under Biden. The guy that showered with his daughter, by her admission, that never bothered you. But this is what bothers you. You don't seem to be honest about understanding that, look, if I do my research and it turns out this Rodden guy is what you say he is, I have no problem condemning that at all. I have no problem saying he shouldn't be in that position of power. Yet you suddenly only awoke when Donald Trump, who lives rent-free in your head, got back to office.
The Regular Joe Radio Show.